You ever had one of those dreams that was a fucking nightmare that you just couldn't wake up from? That's like the last 8 years of my life. It started when my ex left me, or at least she told everybody she left me. As I recall, I remember me being the one that called it quits. But you know, tomato, tomato. It's the worst breakup ever. She left me for a tow truck driver. I later found out its nickname was 8 9/10 because they measured it. Because they measured it. Eight and 9/10. I got schizophrenia, so the conversation kind of went like this. I have friends that aren't really there, but they are. So it goes something like this. John, you're a king, right? Yeah, I'm a king. Okay. Hey, you're a great king, John. John, you're a great king. And you're rich, too, right? You're wealthy. Yeah. What's going on, guys? What's this all about? We just got a couple of questions, okay? Just bear with us, right? Now, keep in mind, these questions are popping into my head, and I don't know how or why or what, but they're about my ex. Which later on, they solved that problem. They said, he drives a fucking tow truck, John. Shouldn't she be with you? I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Jess. It's my daughter's mother. So I go, say, well, you know the strawberry shot? And there's a strawberry shot. It tastes like strawberries that they're working on in the lab that causes orgasms in females. It heightens the senses and allows orgasms in females to occur, like really intense ones. You know, like I'm talking so intense when I tried it, the girl went and packed her shit, moved in, and she hasn't left yet. I said, the strawberry shot. And they went, yeah. It's like, well, he's got, you know, what causes that, just a lot of it. And they go, I can hear him go, hold on, we'll be back. And they take off for a moment, and they come back, and they're like, 8 9/10. We just measured it. One of them looks at me, dead in the face, says, you're never going to get her back. He's not. So, now back to what I was saying about how they took care of that later. My ex, how do I put this down? She's a bitch to me. She's mean to me. When we broke up, we decided to be amicable. I told her she could have whatever she wanted, just don't keep my daughter from me. That's all I ask as a man, as a father, and as an ex. But this turned out to be the worst breakup ever. We're driving down the road after I just took him to town. I took him to Walgreens. And the schizophrenia that I have played out with multiple personalities and then, you know, schizophrenic with hallucinations and auditory hallucinations. I mean, I hit the trifecta of mental illness here. but I only get 1/3 of the benefits, you know? I took him to town. I took him to Walgreens. And two of them, they're not from around here. Actually, a lot of them aren't. Their technology is so quiet that they use their mouth when they, you know, scan something and say. So we're driving back from Walgreens, and I can hear him in the back going, tell him, go ahead, tell him. No, we're not supposed to. Go ahead, tell him. Okay, I'm going to tell him. Okay. We got a surprise for you. Go ahead, tell him. I'm going to tell him. What is that? Go ahead, I'm going to tell him. Persepolis is going to kill Jess. What? Yeah. What? That's bad. What? We thought that's what you wanted. No, that's bad. It's too late. She's already on her way. And then I look in the rearview mirror and they were legitimately concerned because I said, that's bad. Now you're talking about if these were real life friends, they were going to kill my ex because I was feeling down. Those are ride or die dogs, man. That's gangster shit all the way. And the girl that perpetrated the whole organization, her name was Amy, right? They call her Persepolis. And I can just imagine how she ran it by him because the two that were in the back, the three that were in the back, they're like innocent. They don't know the difference between right or wrong. They're just childlike all the time. I call them the kids, right? And, you know, John's been feeling blue lately. You know, John has been looking down. Yeah, he has. You know what would cheer him up? What? We should cheer him up. Yeah, let's cheer him up. Yeah, he would like that. Let's throw him a party. Yeah, we can have balloons, and they can have buttholes, and the buttholes, they'll sing and dance. And they talk just like that, and that's how they roll. Right? One of them described to me making love to a woman once like this. She's gonna love him, and she's gonna kiss him, and she's gonna tie his shoe. Still waiting to get my shoe tied. But we should kill his ex. Yeah. Yeah, wait, Amy, you hate his ex. He don't. Yeah, how would that cheer him up? It would make me feel better. And if I feel better, then I can make John laugh. You know, that's a good idea. But you know what? We're going to surprise him so we can't tell him. Oh, I love surprises. I love surprises. And they love to play games. Anytime you say something like you want to play a game, they'll go, huh? Yeah. So, they couldn't help, surprising me so much that they were going to kill my ex, which is by far the coolest gift that I would have ever received. I can still hear it in my head. We got a surprise for you. They were going to kill my ex. So in order to talk this Amy girl out of it, mind you, this is all in my head. I just play along for insurance purposes because insurance won't cover my psychiatric bills unless I don't. So I have to call her up, and she's on her way to kill my ex. Now, for a schizophrenic, that's a double-edged sword. It's a 50-50 coin toss, I mean, to me, it's real. And to any other person, they'd be like, man, I'm just high, I stressful day, or whatever you guys, normal people, have to do to tell yourselves to get through the day that you ain't fucked up like me. But she's sitting there, and she's a big fan of my music because I make music. She's deeds, them dirty deeds. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing? She said, huh? What, huh? Nothing. I'm just out flying around. And mind you, she's a dragon. She's a dragon. And I'm not talking like the big, dragon Lionheart or Shinzon dragon. I'm talking she's a female dragon of her kind. Meaning that she is human-like in look, but her real figure is that of like a dragon-type woman. It's weird, but not to her or me, because I've been hanging around them so long. I'm like, there's some people that got hit with an ugly stick. I'm just gonna say there's some people who've gotten hit with an ugly stick, right? Let's just fucking say it what it is. Some people took a walk through the ugly forest, hit every ugly fucking tree on the way out. Right? Some of them got dropped off the ugly tree, hit every ugly branch on the way down before they hit the ugly ground. They blame me for that. They yelled at me once because they said, John, we're not allowed to hit babies with ugly sticks no more. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, now we got to slap them on the ass. I'm like, what? I guess before they used to walk through and hit you with ugly sticks. Ugly! So I tell her, look, if you turn around, we'll have sex if you come back. And she's like, what? I mean, I can always kill her later. You know what? Fuck it. All right, I'm on my way back. Okay. And she wasn't going to reach my ex anyway, just because, for one, she was probably imaginary. Let's just go with that right off the bat. And for two, I gave her the wrong directions on how to get there. But later that night, true to form, and schizophrenic doubt, I'm laying in bed. I'm getting ready to watch porn. So we all know what comes after that, right? What? Like me and Pee Wee Herman are the only ones that do it. Anyway. I love sitting next to him, man. I'll be like we're the only fucking ones, right? Yeah. And then I'm laying in bed and I see this blue figure just run, jump up my wall, or, and then just go right through my window, come in my window, and then just stand straight at attention against the wall. She runs in, jumps up, straight at attention. Like, what's up? Right? Now, mind you, this is my bodyguard, so that's where she's supposed to be anyway. Her and another woman called Perseus and Persepolis. That's their names, Perseus and Persepolis. They're called Praetorian Guards. They're called Praetorian Guards. And they guard me at night when I sleep, and they guard me when I go places, which life's been beating my ass, so, I mean, at least I'm not physically getting beat up, right? So I start doing the deed of masturbating, and I hear her go. Now, I don't know if she made a sigh because she was mad, because I was leaving her out, or if it was shocking what I was doing. Or, and take it from me when I tell you this girl, if she was a real life woman, she would be a celebrity, no doubt. The first time I met her, I gave a speech and I said, anybody have any questions or, any concerns or anything, just go ahead and raise your hand and let me know. She's like, I do. And true to form, like, I picture her as a blonde, as a blonde. She's like, what's a big dick? I heard a couple people talking, sounded like I gotta get one. I fell in love with her right there. Like, look, I don't know who taught you my language, but they aced that one right there. She said, what's a big dick? I heard a couple people talking, sounded like I gotta get one. Later on, I heard her say, I'm never gonna get a big one. I hadn't slept with her yet, but nonetheless, she's probably never gonna get a big one. So I go, what's the problem? She goes, huh? Well, no, nothing. I'm just, guarding your room, and I came back like you said, and I think I'm just gonna jump on him. That's what she said to her partner. I think I'm just gonna jump on him. So maybe you should. She said, well, what? Huh? Yeah. Yeah. And as she's taking off her clothes to jump on me, she looks at her friend, and her friend gives her the okay, because women will do that. Go ahead, yeah, because women will do that. Anytime another woman can tell another woman on how to get an orgasm, fuck, they're in. They'll tell you. They'll write it on a punch card. They'll fucking pass it on in a drink. And they'll even do Morse code, farting in the toilet bowl in gas stations. They'll pass it on. It's true. Because when they came up with the strawberry shot, which is, gives intense orgasms to women, they shared it. Right? That's like a guy going, hey man, I found some pussy that's tighter than a lifesaver. You want it? Guys won't do that. We won't. We won't share it. We won't. We'll keep it for ourselves. We'll lock away in a dungeon if we have to. But girls, they don't even mind being around each other. They'll be like, what? We got to sit on each other's laps while that happens? Okay, yeah, all right, I'm keeping, I gotcha. Girls will do that. Girls will share with other girls. I know this because when the strawberry shot came out, the girl that I experimented on with gave her 4 orgasms in 5 minutes. I didn't know if she was going to die or not. I seriously didn't. I was actually ready to go to jail for murder. I really was. Just kidding. I was going to run. I was going to let her go to court, man. Put that on TV. He did what? They looked like a mummy. She was so dehydrated. You ever seen like a desert wash, and when a flood comes through, it looked just like that. Anyway, that night became known as the night of 22 and 4 and 5 minutes, by the way. I'm telling you, that girl went and packed her shit she was gone for like a day. She packed her shit, grabbed her family, moved into my house. She hasn't left yet. She's like, how'd you do that? And then she went and told 17 of her friends. So when I walk into our bedroom, I see 17 of her friends. She's like, babe, I want to introduce you to some girls. They want you to use that, whatever you used on me, to them. I want to show them. Like, when we were coming up with the strawberry shot, there was another girl named Amy who did the exact same thing. She went and told one of her friends, yeah, go ahead, try to do that to my friend, what you did to me. Right? Except for when it comes to dick. They won't share that. They'll tell you about it. They'll make you envious. Up until the point to where the information they give you will allow you access to it, and that's where they'll stop. right? So this girl, Amy's getting undressed. She's running towards me. She's like, okay, don't let me come because I don't want to kill you. I'm like, what? And I repeated in my head. She said, don't make me come because I don't want to kill you. Now going back to when men and women share, every man in the audience is smiling going, he's going to fucking make her come. Like, I don't care if I got the smallest willy in the world. I'm going to work that shit just because you said that you're pregnant right now. I'm fucking serious. Right? So she's riding me. And mind you, where I was, you know, like my head and kind of like my environment, you know, like schizophrenia, it was like Caligula's bathhouse, my room. Right? I mean, there's, yeah. Yeah, man, it looked like Boogie Nights fucking millennial version, right? Everybody had a condom, birth control, their moms and dads knew their bedtimes, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like back in the day where it's like, what? You've been promiscuous with how many people? Fuck it. Free love. Let's do this shit. Am I gonna die? No? Okay. That was before they found out about HIV, right? Because that's the only true disease everybody's afraid of. I mean, that herpes and genital warts, but I mean, you could live with genital warts and herpes, you know, but like HIV, that's the kicker right there. They're like, what, I could fucking die? It just seems wrong in nature to do that, right? To give you a STD that'll kill you by having sex for procreation, you know? Like, that just seems fucking wrong. Like, man designed that. Like a guy with a little dick. Well, I'm just fucking, if I can't have her, nobody can. Right? Tested on his best friend who was gay. Then the homosexuals got blamed, you know? It's a homosexual disease. Like, you know, there's homosexuals that are bisexuals, right? And those bisexuals get with heterosexual people. And heterosexual people, well, they fuck more than gay people do promiscuously. So, fuck off. I'm not homosexual. People just think that by the way I talk. And the reason I do that is so that if anybody jumps me, I could say that I'm a minority and automatically them motherfuckers will get life. I'm diabolic. So she's riding me, right? She's riding me. And she's like, okay, I'm going to stop because I'm going to come. And I grab her and I start pounding. And she goes, John. And all of a sudden, I see this look on her face and this transformation start to happen where she was turning into a dragon. I'm like, oh my God, I'm having sex with a dragon. So I throw her off me because I don't want to die. There's this guy laying next to me who's in my head, imaginary, or, you know, like this hologram, because that's how you see, you know, like I don't know if you've ever done shrooms or acid or anything like that. Well, it's kind of like that, just real. All right? And he's like, ah, and she's like, ah, and she's like clawing at him. And I'm like, ah, you know? And all of a sudden she stops, and I'm like trying to block her, like her claws from killing him and shit, you know? And I'm like, and he's like, what the fuck was that? I'm like, dude, I just saved your fucking life. And I'm like, are you okay, Amy? She's like, I'm like, come here. She's like, I'm just gonna lay on you, okay? I'm like, all right, yeah, go ahead, fall asleep on me. She's like, that would be, what is that? What do you mean, fall asleep on you? I'm like, you never fell asleep on a guy after making love? And all of a sudden, those kids that I was telling you about from earlier, I can hear them hit the window going, what happened? And then the guy's like, Johnny made Amy come and she almost killed me. And then one of them jumps off the ladder that they climbed up to look in the window to see what was happening and goes, Johnny made a dragon come and lived. And then all of a sudden, these other kids just come to the window and hit him. Wow. And I was like some kind of hero. Like I found a way for these women, this female species, to actually get it, for the getting is good, and not have to worry about killing the guy that they got it from. Because all women want to do it again. Fact. I found this out when I was being tested for the Hebrew Messiah, and that 40 virgin stuff for a schizophrenic came true. Right? The girl's name was Amy. Because this girl, Amy, in my head, she's a character in my head. She likes to put me through a lot of stuff. And anytime she can find some kinky way for us to get together to bone, she's all about that. She's like, let's pretend like I'm the first one of the 40 virgins of Islam. And I'm like, girl, you are kinky beyond fucking belief. And I'm a virgin. All right? And I'm like, but you're not. though. I'm like, I mean, you know, she's like, but I'm going to pretend I am. You know, she's like, I'm just going to stand and glow and I'm a virgin again. And that's how she is. Because in her mind, fuck you, she's a virgin again. Because if that's what she's got to be in this line to get that dick, that's what she's going to be. I mean, this girl took womanhood and sexuality to a whole new level in my head that I actually got to share with you. And I've never met a woman like her in my life, and I can't believe that she's imaginary. Wait. I guess that's the expectation of all of us, huh, guys? So, she's sitting there, and she's talking to all the ones that, you know, the other 40 virgins, and she says, no, I'll go first. Yeah, I know, okay, oh yeah, I'll go first. Because they're all nervous, right? At least that's just how I picture them. They were all nervous. And she's sitting next to me on the bed, and I'm like, this can't be, I'm like, we can't do this. I'm like, you know, I'm like, you're young and beautiful, because I can see her, and I wish I could, the way I would describe her, she's got long blonde hair that goes all the way down to her thighs in the front. They go all the way down. In the back, it's long and it goes all the way to the end of her spine. She's beautiful. She's got a C cup that are perfect. The nipples are the size of lifesavers. And her chocha, which she call, what does she call it? Her wibby woo. Her get a man, that's what I said. Her money maker. That's a different character, that's Miranda. And right there you can tell that I'm schizophrenic because I was just talking to somebody. They asked me a question. You know? So, she lays down on her side, naked, perfect body and everything. I'm telling you. She's cool. She was cool. And I'm like, that's how you want to go about it? And she's like, yeah, isn't that how do you want to? And I'm like, I don't know if you're from around here, which, you know, I mean, you know, missionary positions, I think is standard default for, you know, having sex for the first time ever. I mean, isn't it? I mean, I haven't really met a virgin that said, you know what, I wish a guy would just bend me over a fucking table and pound my ass doggy style. Fuck missionary position, reminds me of church. You know, I've never met a virgin that said that ever. You know? And as we're making love, because I'm not going to pass up the opportunity, guys. I mean, you know, we're making love. She's got her eyes closed and in this hypnotic state, and I'm just sitting there looking at her, you know, as I'm like sitting there humping air or a pillow, you know. I'm a schizophrenic. For me, it's real. If it's air, that's a real person there. If it's a pillow, they're dimensional beings. And she gets a gasp of it. She goes, and I'm like, oh shit. And ladies, I got to tell you something. If you do that to a guy, you're pregnant. I'm telling you right now, you'll get pregnant right there. But she topped that by going, hey, are they watching? I'm like, who? She's like, you know, the ones overseeing, they see if you're the Hebrew Messiah. I'm like, I've got the coolest schizophrenic trip ever. I'm like, no, they're not. She's like, okay, don't come in me because I want to do it again. And I'm like, you're pregnant. I'm like, you're so fucking perfect. I'm like, there's no way that, you know, I could hold it. So the next day, true to form of playing the game, my friends, the other beings and people that are, you know, in my little journey with me, they come up, and in my bedroom they go, now for number 2. And I ask them, I'm like, what's the point of the 40 virgins? And they're like, hold on. And one of them goes, oh, I know, I studied Islam. It's to see if you paired with other genetic varieties, which in all there are only 40 other genetic variables that can happen within humanity, and they're virgins so that the experiment isn't tainted, to see if you got all 40 of them pregnant on if you could grow a viable population that would have your genetic traits. I said, oh. I was like, what does that mean? They want to see if you're a god, dude. And I'm like, I'm a schizophrenic. Yeah, I'm talking to somebody. I'm always talking to somebody. I haven't pooped by myself in years, 8 years. I shut the lights off now because I tell everybody, I'm like, shut the lights off, they can see you. And one of my little friends, which I call the minions too, they come up to me and they're like, John, that's true. They can see you because in the future, there's time travel. And you know what they look at? They look at famous and historical events the most. Mm-hmm. They're just not allowed to intervene or let anybody know that they're there. So go and poop. That room is packed, John, because you're famous as fuck where we're from. I'm like, where are you guys from? They're like, we're from the future. Number 2. And Amy goes, no. And I'm like, wow, this girl's gonna fight over me. This is a girl that made a pillow for my penis after we had made love the first time, the second time. She made a pillow for it at night so it could sleep comfortable and it didn't have to stress. It had some of those elastic bands that you have when you're on like jogging, where you got that jogging where you put it on your arm and the iPod sits in there. That's almost, I think that's what she did. She just sewed a pillow around the part that would hold the iPod. There's girls laughing because girls would do that. Girls are like, that's a great fucking idea. Just make sure it's comfortable there, you know? So after the whole 40 virgins thing, I didn't make it past the first one because I fell in love with Amy. I'm like, Amy, you're the bomb. I'm sitting there working on some of my works, you know, because I wanted to be a scientist before I got all schizoed out. She's like, what are you working on? I'm like, I'm working on a liquid gel condom for my company, Appleseed. She looks at me and her eyes get all big and then she jumps on the bed. Let's test it out. I'm like, virgin, no more. She's like, no, I'm a virgin again, so we can do it. She's like, that's the only way. They're still playing the game, John. That's the only way we can do it. She's like, I have to be a virgin or they won't let me in. It's like I gotta wear 40 different wigs. I brought some pennies so I can show you what happened next. So imagine pennies hitting the floor, sounding like that, and one of the minions comes into my room and goes, why is Amy shoving lifesavers up her cooch? Oh, I know. As one of the minions pull a lifesaver out of their mouth and go, Johnny said he wanted it tighter than a lifesaver, so she's practicing. Mental illness is not something that people should take lightly. I do know that if you've ever seen A Beautiful Mind with John Nash, that's exactly how it is for me. Except I have the minions, the kids, Amy, Stasi, Miranda, Lester, I think Eminem's in there too. I know 50 Cent is, because I scared him. He said, that motherfucker will kill you, and I will. And I'll get away with it. For 30 days in a mental hospital, hugging myself with a jacket. Yeah. I'll do it with peanut butter, too, just to make... No, stay away from Jodi Arias. That chick will kill you. I said, I don't get it. I don't understand how a woman could plan to kill you and have sex with you. Guys don't think that way. I mean, guys, you know, like if they're gonna kill you, they'll rape you, kill you, okay, you know. But for like a girl to do that, I actually thought she should have been, you know, charged with rape. Because basically she raped the dude. Just a woman, that's the woman's version. That is the woman's version. Only a woman to look at a guy and go, I hate that motherfucker, I'm gonna fuck him just to show him what he's not gonna have ever again. And girls will be okay with that, except they want to do it again. Like if you have an affair with a woman you can expect that she wants to do it again. Now, whether she does or doesn't, is irrelevant, because you always want to do it again one more time. So, that being said, they threw me into a woman's perspective before I close this out. During sex, I'm laying in bed, and all of a sudden I get this jolt over my body, and I jump up, and I go, don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again. We get robbed. And he's like, what? I was like, women enjoy sex way more than men. And Amy goes, what? And then it dawned on me. They just threw me in a woman's perspective during having sex. My mind just went zzz, and for some reason it came up with being a woman having sex with a male. I was grabbing him with my legs, pulling him in. And I'm assuming the information from this came from porn. I was telling him I love you. And I meant it. I fucking loved him. I did. I loved him. I was thinking house, cars, kids, all that shit. I was like, I'm in love. We're in love, fucker. Until they threw me back out, until the jolt went out. And then I was like, holy shit, women enjoy sex way more than guys. And then Amy, true to form, goes, stomps her foot. And all of a sudden she's got a penis. And she's like, John, look it. And she's wiggling it back and forth. She's like, John, look. Because every girl wants to know what it's like to have a penis. They just don't want one. They just want to see what it's like. And I'm like, Amy, we don't do that as guys. She's like, John, look at my testicles. She's like, they follow me wherever I go. And when I bend down to turn a wrench, and I'm like, bend down to turn a wrench. She's like, yeah, look, they wobble. And that was the word she used, wobble. They'll just sit there and hang and go with me. And I'm like, why did you guys do that? And they're like, oh, still sucking on a lifesaver. They're like, Amy wanted to know what it was like for a guy to have sex so she could explain to womankind in a woman perspective. And while she was making love to a woman as a man, she kept looking at her face. And it dawned on me. I'm like, this girl is in a man's perspective right now. I don't know what that's called. Is that called breaking the third wall or something like that when you're schizophrenic? It's an imaginary hallucination, visually and auditory, that is prospectively a different variety of being, as to conclude what it's like to be a different being as yourself. And she jumped up and she started speaking in her language, which is, it goes like this. Something like that. And I was like, what? She said, what? She goes, we get robbed. Guys' orgasms are way more intense than women's. And I said, no, they're, oh my God, they are. So we set out to make the strawberry shot. You could thank Amy. Good night.